Okay, let's get started. So first, thanks to everyone for jumping in and joining in today's conversation. I'm looking forward to introducing you to some new resources that are available to SWYFT Solutions clients and customers. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Stephen Waring. I'm the founder and president of SWYFT Solutions. I'm joined today by Matt, Nicole, and Rose. And they'll be jumping in a little bit later and giving some introductions as to their roles and how they've come together for this solution, this opportunity that I'm very excited to share with you. But before I do that, I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping or let you guys know this is an interactive session. So if you've jumped in, feel free to familiarize yourself with where the chat and the Q&A is. Feel free to jump in and into the chat throughout conversations. We'll definitely be doing some Q&A at the end of the conversation. For those of you that are watching the recording as well, we'll be sharing some contact information at the end of the webinar, so you can email us any questions that come up. But we're just really excited to introduce you to some of these solutions today. Our team is continuously looking for opportunities, not only just to give you access to high quality solutions and software, but to make sure that you're achieving success with those tools. And that comes with different opportunities for training, as well as this partnership with Eagle Point Software. So I'm really excited about the conversation today and introducing you to some of that. With that, I think what we'll do, Matt, is we'll just get started and dive into this. For those of you that don't know, I think a lot of the people on the call have talked to and know of Matt. If you haven't, you're really missing out, but today you'll get that opportunity. Matt leads the success team at SWYFT Solutions, and it will kind of be our guide through the next 30, 45 minutes here of this webinar. So Matt, let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. So as Stephen mentioned, I deal with customer success. So we'll go ahead and start with the agenda, and I'll pivot that into who we are at SWYFT and my role there. So Nicole, if you could jump ahead to the agenda here.
Oop. There you go.
It still looks like it's showing up as the title slide on my end.
I'm showing the agenda.
There we go. Just take a second.
Okay.
So today we're going to start off just with a recap of who we really are at SWYFT Solutions. I know that SOLIDWORKS is a big focus of ours, but it's really bigger than that, and what we're there for. Then we'll jump into introducing the Eagle Point Software team here and who Eagle Point Software is. Then jump into the Pinnacle Series solution. We'll provide an overview of that today as well. We'll jump into what's included with a subscription and how to get access to that through a SWYFT Success package here with SWYFT Solutions. And then we'll talk about a free trial at the end, and then we'll jump into any Q&A. And as Stephen mentioned, this is interactive. There is a Q&A tile up towards the top. If you jump in there, you can put any questions as we go throughout today's presentation. If you'd like to post anonymously, you can. There's a toggle switch that you can post the question anonymously, or you can jump into the chat as well. So feel free to provide any feedback or questions as we move along, and the team will be watching the questions, and we can interject if there's anything relevant to what we're discussing as we're going. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of a recap of who SWYFT Solutions is. I know that SOLIDWORKS, like I said, SOLIDWORKS is a big focus of ours, but it's bigger than that. I mean, we provide a lot of software solutions from Dassault Systems, but what we're here for is to make sure that you're successful with those solutions. So software is an investment. You're buying that software to complete some type of task. We're here to make sure that you have the right resources for training, the right resources to set up your standards in an efficient way, and the right resources to make sure that you move forward and achieve your ROI essentially on that software. And with that, the Pinnacle Series is a new addition to a tool set that we'll be able to provide with you to help advance your training solutions and even potentially knowledge sharing throughout your organization. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Rose and Nicole over at the Eagle Point Software team to do a quick introduction to themselves and their roles, and then they'll take it from here.
Thank you, Matt. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited about this partnership and the opportunity to tell you more about our solution today. So my name is Rose Otto. I am a partner manager with Eagle Point Software, working really closely with the SWYFT Solutions team, and excited to tell you a little bit more about our company before we dive into the solution, and I turn it over to my colleague, Nicole. So we've been around for 40 years. We own our platform. We have a lot of people working on creating really nice and exciting features for our solution, and a lot of people working on creating content for us and keeping that content up to date, which I'm sure all of you know is a challenge. So Along with those people working for us, we have a large team of customer success managers. So I'll let Nicole kind of talk about that role within our company. The solution we're showing you today started in 2006, but it's changed quite a bit since then. And it's really based on our clients' needs that we found in this industry, and we're continuously creating features to meet those needs. We have over 700,000 users in the platform today, and we're excited to show you it. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Nicole to dive into the platform.
Perfect. Thank you. So hi, everybody. My name is Nicole Rahusky. I'm a customer success manager with Eagle Point Software. So I truly have the pleasure of working with our clients pre and post sale to align the solution to meet their overall organizational goals. As Rose had alluded to, our inception was 2006 for the Pinnacle Series solution. Essentially, what we were hearing from organizations is that they were struggling with the 3 core challenges you see here on your screen today. That includes continuous learning, knowledge capture and sharing, and increasing productivity. So to take a few moments to unpack those a little bit further and dive into that first challenge of continuous learning. This is one that most firms struggle with, and it stems well beyond onboarding new employees. With new features, functions, and versions hitting the market annually, it can be hard to keep employees up to date and in production. We are often hearing from managers that they needed to upskill their staff, but they were unsure of where to start. So via Pinnacle Series, we're actually able to allow them that access to that on-demand training that they're seeking. But in addition to this, all of our content is fully customizable, enabling all of the resources and standards that your organization has to be uploaded, plugged and played into that content and pushed out to your users, essentially reducing the amount of time it takes to create training and deliver it to your users. From here, we're going to transition to that second challenge of knowledge capture and sharing. Within organizations, you're likely to have pockets of knowledge, whether that's a product expert, multiple business units, however that looks internally. We want you to be able to leverage this to serve as that central repository to capture those best practices, company standards, workflows, enabling all of those resources to be easily shared across your organization. The beauty of this is Pinnacle Series is actually tracking who's managing that content as well as who's accessing that content. So you can ensure that your resources are staying up to date as they change over time. And lastly, that third challenge of increasing productivity. Within the architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing space, it is critical that projects are completed on time, with high quality, and under budget. However, when users become stuck, that likely go-to method is they're going to turn around, tap a colleague on their shoulder, and ask their question. Ultimately, what that leads to is you have 2 people trying to solve one problem, which can lead to a fall in production. Instead, we want to empower these users to jump into Pinnacle Series, run a search, find their answer, and get back onto their project work. So all in all, the solution that you're going to see here today is meant to address those 3 core challenges, but there are ample benefits beyond that, including the ability to attract top talent. You can actually ensure those interviewee candidates that they're coming into an organization that's ready to rock and roll and help them succeed. You're going to help retain your current employees by giving them the resources that they need to function efficiently in their role. But thinking of the function efficiently opportunity here, you're also able to increase their productivity and in turn increase your profits. So it's a win-win for the end user as well as the organization. Well, so let's dive into that main user interface here. So first and foremost, I do want to highlight that this is going to be a browser-based solution. So as an organization, your users can have the comfort knowing that they can access this resource wherever they have internet access, whether it's a mobile device or a tablet. We also enable users the ability to download content for offline viewing for a set time frame. So if you do have users that are going to have limited internet access, there is that flexibility to have them have access to those resources. And it is going to be unlimited cloud storage, so you don't have to worry about running into a ceiling when it comes to uploading your own resources. Now, you do have the flexibility here to customize the interface. Everything is widgetized, so you can take the liberty to mirror this after an intranet to help it feel like an internal trusted solution. You can pare it down to specific users, whatever is going to be beneficial for you as an organization. Now, directing your attention to the left-hand side of the screen here, you do have the flexibility to link out to additional resources that are going to be beneficial for your users, but you're also giving them the ability to navigate to intuitive resources, whether that's going to be an internal custom asset library, thinking about corporate best practices, company standards, workflows, as well as any resources that are going to be beneficial for your teams that you have already created. You can pull those in and allow your users to intuitively navigate to them. Down below here, we're going to have our out-of-the-box content. So this is turnkey, ready to go on day one, enabling your users the ability to navigate to the resources that are going to be beneficial and find the answers that they need. So in this case, just jumping into an asset library here, your users can intuitively navigate to what's going to be beneficial. Now, within this, you're going to note that there are going to be 4 different asset types available to your users, which are going to be a learning path, which will walk a user through a skill from start to finish. You're going to have workflows, which will walk a user through a process from start to finish. And then you'll have documents and videos. So those quick tips or tricks for your users to find the answers that they need and to get back onto their project work. Now, from an end user perspective, users are going to be enrolled in courses in a couple of different ways. They have the ability to self-enroll in learning that's going to be beneficial for them, or they can have a manager assign them learning if they're coming into the organization and that manager has identified those key areas. But diving into a course here, essentially what you're able to see is a variety of different topics that are being essentially walking that user through that experience. So if I'm just getting it started with SOLIDWORKS basics, I can begin to consume this content and walk through this experience. It's going to be a mixture of visual and task-based options for those users to not only learn what they're reviewing, but also apply what they're learning while they're operating in their project work. But to take this one step further, as an organization, let's say this is 90% how you operate. Essentially leveraging our management utility, you're actually able to start pulling in the content that you have already created. So let's say that you have Word documents, PDFs, PowerPoint, Excel, previously recorded meetings. However those exist today internally, you have the flexibility to essentially navigate to that document type, drag and drop it into the solution, and make it searchable for your users. In addition to that, you can actually navigate to any of our learning paths here. You can copy down something that has already been provided and essentially begin to plug and play that content into the courseware. So if you just expand something out, you can go ahead and navigate to that course and simply hit add or remove to insert your content. And it's going to be a huge time saver from that content manager perspective when you're not having to start from scratch for your users. You also have the flexibility here to assign out learning to your users, whether that's an individual course or an entire learning path as you deem fit as a manager. Now, from that end user perspective, at Eagle Point, we firmly believe in the opportunity to provide your users with a blended learning approach. So our live events calendar is going to host sessions for your users to register for, attend. They are typically an hour long in length. But the beauty of this is once users register for it, they're actually going to receive an email that's going to include an ICS file for them to put on that calendar. It's going to encourage them to log in and access this. But any of the sessions that have been previously held are going to be recorded for users to come out here and be able to watch that recording as needed and be able to upskill in accordance to their time that's available. Now, as an organization, you have the flexibility to leverage this live events calendar as well. So if you're going to be hosting a lunch and learn and you're bringing in a vendor, what you essentially can do is you can couple the learning that exists within the solution and establish it as a prerequisite. Essentially, what that means is that users are going to be required to complete that learning before they're able to register. Essentially, you're ensuring that your users have a foundational understanding before that vendor comes in. And then from there, you can also pre-survey and post-survey your users. You can get your lunch metrics, so you can ask them if they want ham, turkey, or roast beef. And then you can post-survey them asking if they found that vendor helpful. So you have that flexibility within the solution to offer your users the resources that they need to get on with their project work. But now let's say I'm operating in production and I've become stuck and I have a question and I'm operating in fill patterns. I'm going to log into Pinnacle Series and I'm going to run a quick search here. Essentially, this is going to generate information that's going to be helpful for me, and I can jump into this particular video and I can go ahead and hit play. Essentially, what this means is these users are going to be able to consume this bite-sized content. It's going to be 5 minutes or less, allowing me to find the answer that I need. I can go ahead and jump ahead as needed. But since our videos are transcribed here, it's going to allow the system to search anything that is text-based within the solution, allow me to jump ahead. And if users have a different preferred learning language, they can go ahead and opt for that within their user profile. Essentially, we're servicing over 90 different languages. So if you find this video helpful and you want to share it to My Assets, essentially what this allows for is a quick reference point for your users to navigate to. So underneath the My Assets here, I can see I shared that fill patterns video to reference back quickly to, but I also can download this content for up to 14 days. After that time lapses and I connect back to the internet, all of my learning data will be re-uploaded to the platform for an administrator to be able to see that that information has been consumed. I can go ahead and add my own documents that I find helpful, but what I really love about the My Assets is the ability to link to processes that I may or may not be doing on a regular basis. When I do something occasionally, maybe once a year, and I may come across that I have had skills erosion. I may forget key pieces. And so essentially what our workflows allow for is for users to have that step-by-step guidance that they need as they're flowing through this particular process. So you can ensure that your users are operating efficiently and they're not missing any key points here. You have the flexibility here to customize these to specific teams or groups, ensuring that everybody is operating as they should within a particular process. Now, you also have the flexibility here to establish work groups, which is another way to organize content. You can share relevant information, assign out these resources. It's going to include its own discussion board, but where it stands apart from the rest of the platform is the ability to invite external members. So if you're working with a contractor or a subcontractor and you need to provide them with resources that exist within the platform, but you don't want them to have access to all of your proprietary information, this is a way to select resources to share. You can determine an expiration date. So essentially it's allowing you to share out that information, track that consumption of that information, but then restrict what they're able to see. There's also going to be a dashboard here. This ultimately is going to be a sandbox, if you will, to leverage how you see fit. You can hone in on the usage of the platform. You can outline project specifics, timelines, whatever is going to be beneficial for your groups. Now, all in all, as an administrator, they are going to have access to the learning reports that are being consumed in the platform, as well as the usage. So if you wanted to take a look to see how your users were interacting, you could essentially jump into the learning reports. You could determine the date range in terms of what you're looking to see. So in this case, if I were to select the last year, I could go ahead and see my current enrollments, completed courses, my top learners, my overall learning time, how users are progressing through a learning path, and if they've registered for any of those live event sessions, and if they've completed it. Now, all of these reports do come with in-depth raw data, so you can ensure whether or not your users are actually consuming that content, if they're jumping ahead, how they're doing on quizzes, and if they're retaining that information, or if further action is needed, you can determine that from that learning report. Now, in addition here, you can see how your users are interacting with the solution as well. So if you come to take a look to see who's logging in, you're able to see when they logged in, what resources that they were accessing, and what their top searches are. So this is a really good indication on where pain points may be within your team and where you should spend time upskilling your staff as needed. So you have the flexibility within the solution to see how users are learning, as well as the overall usage that's being consumed within the solution here. So very high level overview for you all to be able to understand the power behind the Pinnacle series. I'm going to go ahead and dive back into our slide deck here to talk a little bit more about the subscription and what it includes. And Matthew can go ahead and take it over from here.
Great, thank you so much. Really exciting solution, a lot of flexibility in being able to not only have content there to get your team upscaled in terms of their knowledge and their processes, but one thing, I love the workflows, being able to map that out and have a visual of a step-by-step and actually have the steps documented in that fashion. Huge game changer for making sure that your processes are documented, and the ability to upload your own standards. So with Pinnacle Series, you get access to all of the courses that are already uploaded, already ready for your team to consume, documents, workflows, the individual videos, if you can search the individual videos rather than taking a whole course, and access to those live events. As Nicole mentioned, there's translations available for over 90 languages currently. You get access to reporting. So if you have an admin that wants to keep track of how your team is doing, keep track of those sticking points that people are running into to make sure that you can get the resources out to help your team be more efficient, that's available as well. You can upload your own data, and with that comes unlimited cloud storage. So you get to upload your own documents, processes, videos. If you've done your own internal trainings, things like that, you can have that documented. You bring somebody else on board, they immediately have access to all of that past documentation and knowledge sharing. And then you also get access to Open API. Now, that's the Pinnacle Series specifically. In terms of where this falls in our offering, we have what are known as SWYFT success plans. So we can provide you software and make sure that you're up and running with that software. But if you want to take it to the next level and make sure that you're getting the most out of your software investment, that's where our success plans come in. And with that, we're adding that into our success plan architecture. So with a success plan, you're going to have access to all those capabilities in the Pinnacle Series that you just saw. In addition to that, you're going to have access to discounted live instructor-led training. You're going to have access to tailored support via email, phone, screen share. So if you're running into an issue, even if it's just a question on how to achieve a certain feature, you're able to potentially jump on a screen share and walk through that with somebody on our team. You can have a dedicated customer success manager where we start to learn your organization, your standards, and we're able to pivot and guide you towards your ROI faster. We understand how your organization works, what your goals are, and we're able to provide you the resources needed to achieve those goals. And then custom KPI tracking, that's with those goals that I was just mentioning. So we can work with you to define what your goal is with that software, set measurable KPIs, and then keep track of those as we learn more about your organization and keep providing you resources to move you closer and closer to those KPIs.